What's poppin', everybody? It's Tony Online. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Today, we're gonna talk about the one time I was literally controlled by the people around me, the system, and the people I will be speaking about in the story.
Introduce y'all one of them young reckless niggas.
I feel like I'm in a place in my life right now where I can talk about this because the people involved in this story, they have absolutely zero influence and power over anything in my life. I feel like, if they're watching this, you know if it's about you or not. And yeah, it is what it is. With releasing this video, I feel like I'm closing that chapter of my life. With making this video, I just feel like I'm closing this chapter of my life spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and it is what it is. I'm a survivor at the end of the day, never a victim. I feel like anyone watching this video who is in a situation where, abuse is prevalent or control is prevalent or the people around them just don't support them and kind of just suck the joy out of them, I want to let you know that there is, as cliche as it might sound, there is a way out, and I need for you to remain strong and believe in yourself, because at the end of the day, if you're not rooting for you when no one else is rooting for you, who gonna root for you? Always root for yourself. Let's get right into the story. Just interacting and meeting people in real life who are new here, I get asked these questions which seem to be all similar in context, what happened? Did you have a good childhood? I'm thankful for all of my subscribers and the people who support me, because it feels damn amazing being able to tell my story, tell my truth, get my message out there, because I've never brought this up before, but at one point, trolls, weirdos, fans, they were so obsessed with me that they decided to look into my personal life, my background of my life, and paint a narrative without giving me a chance to really talk about what really happened, and they kind of just controlled their own narrative and ran with it. So again, I'm thankful for having the opportunity and the subscribers and the platform and the views to get my message out there and to tell my side of the story, and not even my side of the story, to tell my story. So yeah, just growing up as a kid, as a teenager, I just feel like my parents, they were there financially and physically to a certain degree, but I just feel like at the end of the day, they weren't there, which is why I got myself in a lot of situations growing up that they didn't know about, and if they did have a glimpse of, me growing up, they didn't know much. I just feel like with, my parents' support and presence, being absent, I was forced to learn life on my own and figure out things on my own and learn life the hard way. By 16, I wasn't a virgin. I got kicked out of high school. Never went to the same high school. I was already on drugs. You hear me exploited on the internet, all of that. So I just feel like, by the time, family or parental support try to step in, it's too late. I'm damn near grown, you feel me? I'm damn near 18, going on fucking 25. After this situation happened in college, I was literally forced to move back home with family members. And these family members literally had control over everything in my life, my finances. They cut off my credit cards, the debit card that I did have that I was getting money on. They shut it down and they just stopped supporting me, and they used that as leverage to control me. And if I didn't do what they wanted, they would use that against me, even if it involved lying. So let's just fast forward to the situation that caused me to literally be trapped and controlled by both the system and my family and why I think that, you know, it's important to always have your own and to never let anyone be in a position where they can control you. At the time, I had never been arrested outside of physical altercations that I had with these family members. It was more than one, it was 3. And I just kind of felt like they were like playing dirty and just trying to like ruin my name to the point where it could possibly ruin my future, because that part of my family, they were just super like, just like mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive, and I just felt like no one really supported me. Like I had no one to talk to, because they had the ability to like shift everyone's perspective when it came to me, and they wanted to paint me as like crazy, and it seemed like it was working because the people around them, my family members, were starting to believe them, and they never believed me, and it sucked. So yeah, I had never been arrested outside of them being the reason why I was arrested, like just falsifying police records and lying on me. So at the time, I only had like a battery charge for fighting. Mind you, they jumped me. They jumped me and they called the police, and they switched the narrative and made it seem like I was the aggressor, which I wasn't. They let it go. The reality of the situation is like, when it comes to like being mistreated or abused or whatever you want to say, I'm the kind of person like, I'm gonna fight back. Like, we gonna be fighting every single time you try to put your hands on me, every single time you get to disrespecting me and popping it. Oh, for sure, we into it. So it just got to a point where like I had like no support, even though I was living with these people. They shut down my credit card. They shut down the only source of income I had from, as much as I can talk about, they shut that down. They were just hell-bent on like spinning a narrative that I was just crazy and just out of control, when in reality they were mistreating me and I was reacting, and they were lying, and I had no one else to support me. So it was like my word against them. So it was a situation where, another situation where, you know, they put their hands on me. I barely put my hands back on them, and they not only called the police, but they lied, and they lied so bad to the point where the charge ended up being a felony. But the twisted part is like, they were telling me the entire time like, oh, I never said that, like I never lied, gaslighting 101. But the police report is literally saying that you said I did these things when I didn't. So I don't really want to make this video about my jail time, but what I will say is that this person found a way to keep me there until I basically would agree to being crazy. And it's like, if I didn't agree to their narrative and I didn't agree to being crazy, they would hold this over my head, and they would just cut all ties with me while I was in jail, because they knew I had no one else. So I was in jail for about 13 months. This person visited me about 3 times and only put money on my books about 2 or 3 times. And the only reason why I was released is because I threatened to unalive myself. Ironically, when I threatened to unalive myself, because I was literally sitting there. If anyone knows, if you sit in jail on a felony, for like a serious felony, waiting for court, they weren't trying to pay my bill. They wanted me to agree and to label myself as crazy. And when that didn't work, I just said I was gonna myself, and they let me free. So the release was contingent upon signing papers that's literally like basically signing my rights away, and saying that the only reason why, and this is just my perspective, the only reason I can get released if I sign these papers agreeing that I'm crazy. and which I did because when I had never been to jail before besides the first time, and that was only like 2 weeks. So imagine doing like a year plus bid. Mind you, I'm in a dorm with armed robbers, chomos, people who have unalived people, all types of people. Like, and it's like I'm just sitting there, and the only option I have is that. You're right, I'm gonna take that option. So before I even had a chance to be released, I had already been like super manipulated by this person, super gaslit, and it's like, if I did these horrendous things to you, why are you still talking to me? And it was like a constant battle of like, you're lying on me, you lied on me, you got me here, and they didn't like that narrative. So it's like whenever I pushed that, whenever I told my truth and told them what was really going on, they would just cut ties and cut communication. So imagine, like, I'm in jail. I have no one to talk to. That's the only source of support that I have is the person who got me sent there and is only agreeing to communicate with me and to support me if I label myself and sign legally as being crazy. I can't say that was one of the worst decisions of my life, but it was for sure life. Like, life was definitely lifing, and I had no one to support me because at that point they had already convinced everyone who once supported me that what happened and I'm crazy and they shouldn't talk to me, basically. Mind you, literally nothing is wrong with me. I had never been diagnosed with a mental illness in my entire life, but they were helping on me legally stating that I have a mental disorder to be released and to join this program. And basically when I signed that paper, I in a way like signed my rights away. Like, at times I feel like I was better off just like finishing my bid in jail, because what I had to endure was just, I don't ever want to have to replay those memories in my head, which is what I'm telling you all. So in this program, I had to agree to take like antipsychotic medication, like super strong doses of antipsychotic medication. And I was warned by a cellmate of mine about this situation, about this program. This cellmate told me that at one point they tried to get him to join this program, and they would dope him up so much to the point where he was a vegetable and he didn't know where he was, and he like saw that coming for me and gave me a heads up, like, don't take the medication, don't join that program. Like, this was before I got released. Boom. So when I joined the program, I had to agree to taking super strong doses of antipsychotic medication that I didn't need. One of them being the same antipsychotic medication that allegedly has turned Britney Spears' brain into like sludge. I had to take these pills. I had to go to court like 3 times out the week. I had to be drug tested even though I wasn't on drugs and I didn't do drugs, at least 4 times a week. And I had to take like these classes within the program like every day. So I had no time for me. And mind you, like, if you didn't do any of that, they would send you to jail. So if you missed 2 days of class, they're sending you to jail. If the judge didn't like your answer in court about how your week went or how things are going, they would send you to jail. If you didn't take your medication and someone found out, they would send you to jail. So it was just like a double-edged sword, like not even a double-edged sword, a terrible sword. And it's like, mind you, if you get sent to jail a certain amount of times, they just send you back to jail, and they sentence you. Like, meaning you go to prison. And yeah. Not only that, I had to live in like the projects, like terrible projects, like damn near bandos. Like, they just barely reinvented these bandos. These beds had bed bugs, roaches. Like, the lunchman was like a creep, a pervert. It was just terrible living conditions. And the people who lived around me, they were actually like crazy and mentally ill. Like, these people had severe mental health. There was a wanted for a murder on the street pole outside of the complex. It was just a super toxic and tragic situation, and I had no rights. Like, I had no rights. Like, the medication that they were giving me or trying to give me was the same medication that they were giving these people, and these people were literally like severely mentally ill, like schizophrenic. Like, they would talk to themselves early in the morning, they would fight, they would babble, they were also like being taken advantage of, like sexually, and it was just a terrible situation. Like, I had no rights, and I would spit the medication out, but then eventually they caught on and they would make me take it in front of them. And when I refused, they got all of my belongings and they threw it all outside. And they said that you're not able to come back and live here unless you take these pills. And if you don't take these pills, we're sending you to jail. And mind you, my family members who got me in this situation, oh, they were all for it. They were all for it. I had no one to talk to. So like, it was just a super terrible situation. And I'm gonna tell you how I got out the situation. Super crazy. Mind you, I could barely work. I couldn't go to school. So like, financially, there was no way that I could get myself out of the situation, because like realistically, it was like, this program was consuming so much of my life and literally draining me that I wasn't able to work. So I came up with this like suicide mission, like, but at the same time, I feel like this program wasn't as controlling as like the parental figure who got me in this situation. So one time during this program, I was dating this photographer that I met in college, that moved to LA. And like, at the time, like, we were able to like take like, cause I'm from LA, we were able to take trips, but they were only like, I think like a couple of days or a week max, I don't know. But the family member, found out that I was like going back to LA to visit the person I was dating and see some friends. And they literally like called like the probation officer or whoever was over the program, called them like, he can't go, you guys can't let him go, don't let him go, like, because they couldn't get me not to go and live my life. But like the little probation officer person was like, you know, at the end of the day, he's grown, we gave him permission, he can go to LA. Shut that little shit down. And it just showed me how like controlling the people around me were, and how the lengths that they would go to control me, even if it meant lying, even if it meant literally attempting to gaslight me to the point of no return, even if it involved them literally being wrong, but them wanting to like manipulate me. And it was just super terrible. It was a super terrible situation. But when I came back from LA, I had a photo shoot, and I decided like, I can't, like, going back home to LA like just showed me how much life of my real life that I was missing out on. So I decided that the only way out of the situation, because I just felt like I was better off, like, I'd rather be on probation where I can go back home to LA and I have rights and I can work and I can go to school and I can do what I want to do and no one is controlling me. And if they do decide to control me, I have the freedom to go somewhere else and not have to worry about if I miss court or I miss a class, I go back to jail. I decided, like, if I'm gonna go back to jail, I'm finna go back to jail. I'm finna go on probation. So it was a situation where, I'm gonna just fast forward this. The last time I got sent to jail in that program which caused me to be exited from that program and to be on like regular probation. We were all watching Requiem for a Dream in a little program class, and the police officers that came, they put like four of us against the wall and they arrested us. And the reason why they arrested me or us is because they had found out that we were basically screwing around in our phones, and I guess that's illegal in the program. Like, you can't fraternize in the program. But like, the truth is, I told them that on purpose so they could purposely arrest me and kick me out the program so I could be on probation. Diabolical, but it was literally the only way out. Like, I don't think you guys understand how like toxic and crazy this program was. So I ended up going back to jail for like another month. Mind you, I had no proof that this plan was happening. Mind you, when I'm sitting in the court cell with the people around me, like, they're doing 20, 40 years. So mind you, the charge that I had that I was lied on about carried up to 25 years. So I'll never forget this. They looked into my criminal record and they saw that I didn't really have a record. Like, that was my first felony. Like, I was smart enough to beat it. They saw I didn't really have a record outside of my family interactions. And so by the grace of God, they gave me like 3 years of probation. I only did like a year and a half. Boom. So yeah, when I got released, I went back home to LA and I never looked back. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. More content on the way. I definitely want to end this video on a positive note and just let whoever is watching this video who is going through something similar, whether it be abuse or being gaslit or being controlled, if you're over 18, I would suggest you just cutting ties or just getting your own everything so no one can ever control you and treat you however they want to treat you, and you'll always have your own leverage. If you're under 18 and you have to live with family members like this, hang in there. God is real. It'll work out regardless. Just pray about it and find as much information as you can. Use ChatGPT. Resources are out there, but I'm praying for you and you got this.